So underway, Mitch, 7.5 laps. Let's see how this pans out. We're saying we're looking at a championship race, but I think Amy Dunnage straight to the lead. Lockie?
I think we might have put the Moz on it a little bit early there, Tim, to try and call a championship race, as Amy Dunnage now just wants to try and stretch her way down this home straight and see who is game enough to come with her. It is Aspen Anderson right behind her, so our 1-2 punch, the two fastest, are now going to try and make it a little bit of an interesting affair as they make their way through the first 200 metres, and certainly not messing about with pace as the rest of the field tries to find a spot towards the rail. You don't want to be too far out. It is only 7.5 laps, but to run any further than you need to just seems unnecessary as Dunnage now just continues with that early pace.
Yeah, the conditions a little bit blustery, as we're saying. We're seeing the gap already forming with Anderson the one to go. Gabrielle Vincent's in next position. I think Zatopek might be then holding that next place. Now the gap just staying fairly stationary there. We'll get a fix here as they go through that first lap. About a 68 thereabouts. So on a pretty rapid pace, Mitch.
Yeah, they certainly are at this rate. That is absolutely flying, and Amy Dunnage not waiting for anybody. She's more than happy to just keep this one ticking along. So as we said, she is the prized athlete of this field. She was the winner last year, a 9:03 PB, Amy Dunnage, and it seems just about everything she touches turns to gold. So she'll try and replicate that here as she now forms about a 10-metre gap towards Aspen Anderson, who gets caught in a little bit of no woman's land here, but certainly still on a hot pace. As right behind her, you're exactly right, as Gabrielle Vincent is going to lead through a string of women behind her. It's Schmidt tucked in nicely, and a little bit further back on the rail there is Hannah Anderson, who finds herself with a little bit of room in the pack, but it's all Amy Dunnage at the moment out in front.
Well, that 68 indicates an 8:30 finish time. I'm not saying we're going to get that, but it just shows you the strength at which Amy Dunnage has gone out, and I think Anderson's made that strategic decision that she's not going to try and hold that is so far under her PB that's not funny, and it's best to just sit back. Maybe the chasing pack might start to bring her in a little bit sooner than we thought, but Gabrielle Vincent leading that chase pack. She's got a 4:25 1500 to her name, and she is was the national champion under 17 over 800, so Vincent has a bit of toe. Training quite nicely at the moment, and we're seeing her just run strongly with Anderson basically in no woman's land at the moment. It's Amy Dunnage. We could be looking at record pace here tonight.
Yeah, well, if this continues, we certainly will be, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon, as we'll get a very good understanding of what sort of pace Amy Dunnage is on as she approaches the 1 kilometre mark. And I think you're right, Tim, at the moment, Aspen Anderson just doing everything she can to stay on a really hot pace, but the pack is behind her there as we approach this 1 kilometre mark, and it's 2:55 on the clock. So we are well under the 9-minute pace through the first third of this race, as now we see Aspen Anderson hit it just a bit over 3 minutes. So this entire field, or that at least front pack, is well and truly underneath their PB pace. And we do tend to see that from time to time here at the Zatopek 10. The Ondieki 3000 brings out the best in some of these junior women. There's been a plethora of talent that has won it in the past to go on to have stellar careers. And at the moment, it's Amy Dunnage who is in the driver's seat as she's under 9-minute pace.
She certainly is, and at this stage we've just gone through that one. Actually, we haven't got the split on that one, but she's certainly under the 9-minute pace at the moment and not looking to slow down at all, so she's now out to about 75-metre lead. Well, just running with full confidence at the moment, Amy Dunnage hasn't pivoted her head once to look around to see where the rest of the field is. Just smooth as butter as she makes her way down this home straight. This is a real treat for everybody to be able to observe as we see this pack now. They start to disband a little bit. So it was a group of about 10. It now dwindles down to 8, trying to get on the back of Aspen Anderson. And as we see going through the start-finish line now, 4:07, so still well on pace here at the moment, Amy Dunnage, as now these women start to sort themselves out behind her. It is going to be still Aspen Anderson behind there, so too Gabrielle Vincent. Tucked in nicely is Gabrielle Schmidt, and right on the tail of them is Abby Butler. So as these women make their way through the start-finish line, it is a commanding lead at the moment for Amy Dunnage on the back straight. So we are looking at a position now where Melissa Rowlandson's event record, 9:03.64, set right back in 2001. That is on the line tonight, Mitch, as we see Amy Dunnage going through there. So the pace still on. She's still sitting at that sub 9 minute pace. This is going to be a really interesting chase for that time, and I think that's what Amy Dunnage is certainly doing now, as we're seeing a little bit of a change. Vincent stepping forward. Looks like she's now gone into that second position.
Well, the one who's tucked in really nicely there as well, Tim, in that pack has been Gabrielle Schmidt. She hasn't assailed to the lead in that group yet, and she's just tucked in nicely on that shoulder. And Amy Dunnage, she's making this look easy, but this is incredibly difficult to go out there at pace and do it on your own. And she's at the moment going through the motions that she's going to approach the 2 kilometre mark. The pack behind her is now dwindled down to 3. It is going to be Aspen Anderson who just jumps on the back of the 2 competitors in front of her and will be able to benefit from the pull that they'll give her, as the pack is completely disbanded at the moment behind. All these women are on very fast times. There's going to be a lot of PBs coming out of this Ondieki race if they can keep going with the momentum. But let's get a real close look at what Amy Dunnage is going to go through the 2 kilometre mark in. It'll really set up whether that record is still well and truly under threat.
So running clock here, we're looking right, we're going to be under that 6 minute mark. Can we get young Amy Dunnage under the 9 minutes? It's a rarity in the under 20 age group. It will be an event record here at the Zatopek for the Ondieki race. Let's get the crowd behind Amy Dunnage as she enters that last kilometre. As we see the chasing pack there, Gabrielle Vincent still doing a mighty job. Schmidt's right with her. She's got a 16:57 5K, so she's got the legs for the distance here. And Anderson, she's also a 16:45 over 5. So they're looking at the young lady there, Vincent, who's the 8:15 type, just trying to take them through and get them through into this last K.
Yeah, well, they've certainly picked up the pace as well. You can see the cadence in their legs really starting to shift through. There's 2 laps to go for Amy Dunnage. She is on an absolute, this is a clinic in 3,000 metre running at the moment. Some of the tougher laps of the event are coming right now. This is where you're so close to the end, but it can feel like it's a little way away. But Amy Dunnage is looking in total control out there as she approaches the back straight. And as you mentioned, it's the speed of Gabrielle Vincent who's going to try and pull the rest of this crew through. It's Aspen Anderson just off the back of them, and Schmidt looking really good tucked behind. She's run a really tactical race, not to have to get to the front and brace this wind, but on the back straight, approaching a very solid margin at the moment is Amy Dunnage, and that record is still under threat here.
It certainly is. So Butler's taking the next group through at the moment. Looks like Anderson might have broken there, and it might be the podium position's just about settled here, but it is Schmidt who's looking fairly good, sitting off the back of Vincent. Vincent doing all the work into the wind. But round 500 metres to go here. Amy Dunnage, this is exciting. Let's get behind the young lady, represents the Mentone Athletic Club. She has put on an absolute show here today over 3,000 metres. Will we see that event record go? 2001, Melissa Rollinson said it. Can Amy Dunnage wipe her name off the list?
Well, Amy Dunnage, look at the clock here. It is 7:49, so she needs to run just under that 3 minute K pace for this final lap to go, not only under the record, but under the 9 minute magical marker. As Amy Dunnage now, 350 metres to go. It would have been a clinic if somebody was close to her. It's a demolition at the moment with 300 under the 9 minute pace as she approaches the back straight. Our next 2 athletes come through now. It's Gabrielle Vincent, 8:12 on the clock as well, so it's incredibly fast, but all eyes are glued to the middle of this back straight at the moment as Amy Dunnage, 200 metres to go to potentially etch her name into the history books of the Ondieki 3,000 metres.
As we see the ribbon coming out, that famous Zatopek finish ribbon, we're seeing Amy Dunnage absolute put on a clinic here this afternoon at Lakeside Stadium. Let's get behind her, crowd. This is awesome running over 3,000 metres. Amy Dunnage, will she rewrite the record book? Smith, you can call it in.
Well, she's got 16 seconds to make her way down the home straight. If it's not going to be under 9 minutes, she's well under the record at the moment. Amy Dunnage, she wheels out to lane 2. She's been on her own from the first 600 metres. Watch the clock, 9 minutes on the nose for Amy Dunnage. And that is a new Ondieki 3,000 metre record on her haunches, and deservedly so. That was an exhibition of 3,000 metre running as Amy Dunnage takes it out back to back. Under 20 Ondieki 3,000 metre champion, and the kick down to the line is going to go the way of Gabrielle Schmidt. 9:23, 9:24 on the clock. And behind her now is Gabrielle Vincent, and that is 2 more PBs as we see Aspen Anderson now come across the line for 4th place. What a race that was at the front.
We're seeing place getters here, Mitch, that would normally run winning times here in the Ondieki. So well done to Schmidt and to Vincent. Anderson gutsy all the way. Looks like Abby Butler coming through in that next position. So let's get behind. Lots of sub 10-minute performances here, so great quality. Tully Rogers coming through there now. Vicky Vanderkamp also crossing the line. So Mitch, Amy Dunnage, looking forward to the World Cross Country, I would say. Those trials not that far away, and with that performance, we are looking at an absolute superstar of Australian athletics, and Amy Dunnage taking Melissa Rollerson off the Ondieki record list with a time just over the 9-minute mark, which is a new personal best for Amy Dunnage.
Well, there's got to be something in breaking long-term distance records, because 21 years that one was standing there, and Amy Dunnage just to do that on her own as well is just truly remarkable as we see our final competitors come down here in the Ondieki 3000. As you mentioned, so many women under that 10-minute mark as well, which was fantastic. And I think Nick Wall is down there with our winner.